Good morning, everybody. It is now 10:04. We will call to order the Tuesday, September 20th meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Would you please rise if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we will accept public comment for items not appearing on today's agenda. Is there any public comment at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will accept public comment as each item is under consideration. Is there any additions to our agenda?
I have none.
Okay. We're going to look for a motion to approve our minutes from September 13th.
Motion to approve the minutes from September 13th.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion has carried. Okay. Ordinance number 3 of 2022 has been properly advertised, and we're looking for final consideration today, and we're pleased to have Joanne Schaefer from the Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority with us. Good morning, Joanne.
Good morning.
And we'll see if there's any comment, any updates, and if not, we'll look for a motion to adopt. But anything you'd like to add?
I just want to mention that when I was here 2 weeks ago, Commissioner Dersham asked me a question to which I responded incorrectly. You asked me if there was anything in the new ordinance that would allow the flow control of recyclables, and I said I was responding to what I had been talking about earlier, which was out-of-state waste, and I responded incorrectly that there was not. The ordinance does not contain flow control for recyclables, but it does give the ability to do that in the future. So I apologize.
No, thank you for setting the record straight there and updating us on that. Okay. Any comments from the board in terms of the ordinance? Any comments, feedback? Okay. Any public comment before we look for a motion to approve this ordinance? And if there's any questions, Gary, we could, if you'd like to ask them now, sure.
Is the county switching its primary landfill sites under this?
That has nothing to do with the ordinance, but the answer is yes, beginning on January 1, 2023. Let me make sure I've got the right year. Rather than using the Green Tree landfill over in Elk County, we will be using the Laurel Highlands landfill, which is a waste management facility in Cambria County, Pennsylvania. So DEP requires a 10-year agreement for disposal. We're at the end of our present 10-year agreement and going into a new 10-year agreement moving forward.
So do we know if the switch in landfills will impact trash hauling rates, or we don't know yet?
I would be safe in saying that rates will most likely go up. We had a really good deal over the last 10 years with Green Tree. Not that the new one isn't good. It certainly was the best economic and environmental response to the RFPs. But my guess would be that prices will be going up slightly. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. All right. Hearing no comment on this, we will look for a motion to adopt Ordinance 3.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 3 of 2022, a second amended and restated municipal waste management ordinance.
I will second it.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. The ordinance is adopted. Thank you, Joanne, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move into our bids and proposals. Our first one is for professional auditing services. This has been out for bid for quite some time, RFQ. We're going to welcome up our controller, Jason Moser, for any comments that he'd like to make regarding this. His office works the closest, our finance office as well, but Jason certainly helps lead the charge on this. So Jason, anything you'd like to add before we open our responses?
No, we had 4 responses to the RFQ that went out, and they were Clifton Larson Allen, Baker Tilly, US LLP's our current auditor, Meyer Dussel, and Boyer and Ritter LLC. So 3 of them I'm quite familiar with, 1 of them I'm not as familiar with, but interested to dig into them. And after they're open, we'll set up the timeline for interviews with the firms that move on to that stage.
Could you give us that first one just once again? Clifton
Larson Allen, and they're out of Maryland.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, so at this time, we're going to open them up, and we'll go from there.
So the submission requirements were 1 original copy, 10 copies, and 3 electronic. The first one to open is Clifton Larson Allen.
Jason, will we see a multi-year, are these going to be multi-year? How are they structured?
Yeah, these should be multi-year for, I believe, minimum of 3 years first, and then with the option to extend. And then this also includes the submitters were required to submit the transportation audit as part of the overall cost for this audit as well.
I'll plop them right back in.
And then are we holding off on opening the price until we score them and grade them?
Correct, yes. The Finance Committee will be the review committee, and they'll score first just based off the qualifications within, and then the cost submit will be opened out.
So this is the original. Here is the sealed dollar cost, which is not to be opened.
Correct, thank you.
Three electronic. And 10 paper copies. Next up is Baker Tilly. There's the sealed dollar cost. Three digital. One original. And 10 paper. Next up is Meyer Dussel.
Our Finance Committee, Jason, comprises many different stakeholders throughout the county who will be reviewing this. And we had conducted one in, I believe, 2017, 2018, somewhere about there, so.
Yeah, this is the 5th year of, and last year Baker Tilly's current contract. Typically good to go out to bid on a new auditor every 5 years. You can stay with the same firm, but typically your managing partner will change during that time frame to put a different set of eyes on, the county's financial statements.
Looks like 6 paper in that box. Sealed cost proposal. and 4 more papers, so there's a total of 10 paper. And the last one is Boyer Ritter. I'm sorry?
Where are they located out of?
State College. So here's the sealed dollar cost.
I think they're on University Drive.
Boyer and Ritter's actually the auditor for the Industrial Development Authority and the General Authority as well.
So 3 electronic. One master copy. And 10 paper.
So we've opened up all of the respondents, and everything looks good from all 4.
Yes.
Okay, great. So it looks like, Jason, we're going to table this for a few weeks. Looks like about 2 months for us to study and make some recommendations and dig in.
Yeah, we'll set up the timeline at next week's Finance Committee meeting for interviews, especially leading into election season. We want to leave enough time to be able to fit in interviews with potentially 4 different firms.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any questions for our controller before we look for a motion?
Glad to see good bids. Motion to table the request for qualifications, professional auditing services until Tuesday, November 15th.
Second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions on this? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. And we'll go into our item B here for bids and responses, and we'll welcome up Joni as well for this item. We're going to be going out to for RFP for enterprise resource planning software and implementation. So please.
Sure. Yeah, so this is the second phase of this project to update the county's enterprise resource planning software, which would touch all of our payroll, human resources, and fund accounting softwares. We are looking to advertise for the proposals for this beginning next Monday, September 26th, pending, we're finalizing some of the requirements and stuff for the software itself with Plant Moran, and this will also be the first RFP going out through the electronic bidding process through Penn Bid, so we're coordinating between the 2 firms to make sure all the paperwork's in line for the advertisement and let firms know how they would submit bids for that project. And they will be due back then at the end of October, October 28th, and from there, we'll start the demo interview phase with that project as well. I don't know if Joni had anything else to add to that?
I would just add that the really integral part of that is the interview where they'll come in and they'll do demos, sit down with whoever would be interested, whatever department uses what part of the programs. I think that's hugely important that you can see and feel and touch and go through the program as if you were going to use it. So I highly recommend, and we'll make sure that that's really important, that the departments really come in and commit to spending an hour or whatever going through those demos and going through those interviews. So I think it's a great process, and we're pretty excited.
Thank you both, Jason and Joni. Any questions or comments for either of them?
No, I know it's been a lot of work to get it to this point, but glad to see we're maybe halfway through the race at this point.
And it will have dashboards. That's what we made sure that's an essential component, so.
Sounds good. Okay. At this time, we'll look for a motion to approve advertisement.
Motion to approve advertisement for the request for proposals, enterprise resource planning, ERP software, and implementation services.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. Thank you both very much. Appreciate it. One more item to finalize. Today, we're going to welcome up Ray to talk about our contract for our first round of bridges. Hi, Ray. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. This morning, we have in front of you an agreement with Glenn Hawbaker for the amount of $2,148,818 for the 2018 multimodal bridge bundle. 10 days ago, well, back on September 12th, we received the notice of award, and the Commissioners executed that. We have 10 days to execute the agreement in light of the fact we received the performance bond, payment bond, and certificate of insurance. After this agreement is approved, we'll need to proceed with a notice to proceed. So that's the process we're in right now with the bridge bundle.
Okay, another big step. Thank you, Ray. Any comments or questions before we look for a motion to approve? Okay, we'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve the contract with Glenn O. Hawbaker, Inc.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried. Ray, thank you. We're actually Ray will be staying up here. We're going to head into some contract addendums and an agreement.
Yes, sure. Next item is a contract addendum for the extension of our CDBG CV vehicle repair program through the DCED, Department of Community Economic Development. Center Helps is a partner in administering the program. We're going to extend the term to May 31st, 2023 to allow additional time for the repair program to fully expend the funds. That amount, it will not change, is $232,726 for the period January 27th of 2020 through May 31st of 2023.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Any questions or comments on this? Okay, we will look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the contract extension for the Community Development Block Grant CV through the Department of Community and Economic Development.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. And then going into the agreement.
Sure. This also is in relation to the bridge bundle. We have an agreement with Eads Group to provide professional services for bridge construction inspection for the 2018 bridge bundle, and the total project contract cost is $132,665.10. That is for a period of March 2023 through November of 2023, and then March 2024 through May 2024. So at the end of our construction project with those repairs, we do require to have a construction inspection engineer to make sure the design plans have been followed.
Great. Thank you, Ray. Any questions or comments on this? Okay. We will look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the agreement with Eads Group, Inc. for the 2018 Bridge Bundle Project Inspection.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Ray, thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, welcome up Chris Schnurr for 2 MOUs for us to discuss today. Good morning, Chris.
All right, thank you and good morning. There's 2 memorandum of understandings that are on the agenda for today. A memorandum of understanding, also known as an MOU for short. There are 2 being presented today, and this is a 3-party agreement between the developer, the township, and the county, whereby the developer agrees to reimburse, in this case, Benner Township, for the costs associated with the township engineers processing, reviewing, inspecting, and approving the engineering details of the plan. Basically, in short, this is simply an agreement between the 3 parties mentioned regarding engineering fees. It's not an approval of the plan. That approval authority is vested in the County Planning Commission. The first one, I'm going to go over the first 2, and then I'll show you a quick slide presentation, is the preliminary land development plan for 11R, and that's called the Cascade. And this is a preliminary plan. It shows the development of 15 buildings intended to house 148 residential units and 74 non-residential units for a total of 222 units with corresponding infrastructure. This particular proposal is located at the terminus of High Tech Road and along the western right-of-way line of Crosswinds Drive. The second MOU is for the Greater Buffalo Run Valley United Methodist Church. That's also located in Benner Township, and that's going to show the development of a 5,010 square foot church, also along with corresponding infrastructure, and that's located along the northern right-of-way of Buffalo Run Road, approximately 1,000 feet west from its intersection with Armagas Road and about a half a mile west from its intersection with Rock Road. Now, just a quick presentation of where these properties are. This is the Cascade. And this is the University Park Airport, and this is High Tech Road. And as you make your way northwest, you're going to come across this area of property that's highlighted in blue. That was originally 3 industrial lots that were then consolidated into one larger lot. And within the Benner Township zoning ordinance, this is in the industrial zoning district, and it does allow this type of mixed use as long as the first floor or the bottom floor, I should say, has either commercial or industrial uses, and then the upper floors are residential use. Now, the plan that was presented by Buchart Horn, who is the project engineer for this proposal, shows the 15 buildings along with an internal street system. And then everything you see in blue are areas of stormwater management. The next MOU is the Greater Buffalo Run Valley United Methodist Church. And this is Buffalo Run Road with Arbogast Road. And if you make your way just off the screen, you're going to hit Rock Road, and that's the road you take to get back to the airport. And there's an existing house, pantry, and shed on the property. And for those who have been driving on Buffalo Run, you'll see a sign that says future site of the Greater Buffalo Run United Methodist Church. And the area development is about in that footprint. And Pantera Engineering, who is the engineering firm that provided the plan, shows a street system with parking and a proposed well, and they're going to tie into sewer right along that part of their property line. And there's a one-way, they're going to have a drop-off vestibule there as well. One additional piece of information just want the board to be aware of is this was taken from DEP's website, and it was dated just a couple weeks ago. This is in Benner Township, and it's really difficult to see, but there's a thick black line that's outlined, and this is the area of PFAS that's being studied by DEP, and the Cascade is highlighted in yellow there, and with just a little bit of a dot, the Greater Buffalo Run Valley United Methodist Church appears to be just outside the investigation area. And again, this is on DEP's website, and if you type in PFAS in Benner Township, PADEP, it'll take you to part of their website. There's a lot of information about this, and our office has been in contact with DEP about any type of restrictions regarding development in this area, and DEP has indicated on several occasions that there aren't any type of regulations that they're aware of from DEP that would preclude development in this area. I have reached out to several developers, including the 2 mentioned today, and said DEP would really like for you to get in touch with them so they can give permission to DEP to go on site and do some soil testing to help DEP try to isolate where this PFAS plume is located. DEP also recommends if you have an on-site water well, if you have the ability to tie into a public water supply, which the Cascade is and has already worked out with State College Borough Water Authority to supply water, they would recommend that as well. And those are the 2 MOUs that are being presented today.
Thank you, Chris. And I think the slide that you have here for the PFAS is important. And again, I don't know if we can encourage through this approval. I mean, this is a 3-party MOU, but if the commission, the County Planning Commission, when they're working with the developer and you are, to please, again, encourage them to do some testing, especially when they're putting it looks like they're going to put a new well in at the church in that area, which you have the Cascade listed there, but where's the church going to be at?
The church, the PFAS study area actually is right about in this area. So the well is outside of the investigation area, but I still sent the project engineer at Pantera the same information I sent to the others and said, just make sure the church knows about this, even though they're outside the study area. Still won't hurt, they're still at least aware of it.
Could you indicate them on the slide?
I did. It's a little hard to see.
That's fine.
It's
Yeah.
right there.
Oh, there it is. Yes, thank you, Chris. Okay, I didn't even see that.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't even see it. I was looking at the Cascade. Yeah, so it's literally just, the line is very close there, so, okay. All right, appreciate it. Well, that was, I think, the comment that that I at least had to make. Any other questions or comments on either of the two MOUs?
To the best of anyone's knowledge, DEP is not done with the testing for the PFAS and their study for,
Right, I believe, Ray, they're still in the process or still continuing to do testing in the area.
any idea about a timeline or?
No. No, they have allowed third-party testers to go in, which this dark blue, I believe, indicates that third-party sample, and those are some of the third parties that have come in. But DEP, again, in correspondence that we've received, DEP really would like permission from the property owners that they can go on site and actually do the soil testing, and that way they have the data. The more data, the better.
Get that resolved.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Chris,
Yeah.
I noticed that there's exactly twice as many residential units as non-residential. Are these like two-story structures with a second floor above the industrial? You can fit 2 units on top of it, or maybe are these 3-story structures?
It's a little bit almost like a. It's the reason they called it the Cascade is because this topos actually goes down from an elevation from high tech down this way, and so when you come on the front of the building this way, you're going to have 2 residential units. But when you come around the front, you're going to have it's going to decrease in elevation, and you go in here, and it's going to be commercial on the bottom floor there. So when you come around, there's 2 floors here, but when you come around the front of the building, there's actually 3 floors.
All right.
It's like a bi-level house. It
Yeah.
keeps cascading down.
We'll look for a motion then to move these forward, and this would be to the next week's consent agenda if there's no further questions. Okay.
So, motion to add planning items 3 and 4 to next week's consent agenda.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. Okay, Chris, thank you again. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
You bet. Okay, we're going to stay with our planning office, and we're going to welcome up Betsy Bart, and we also have some guests with us, but Betsy, if you'd like to take the lead and do some introductions, we'd appreciate that so much. Okay.
Welcoming up Mr. Jeff Siemens and Colleen Ritter from State College Community Land Trust. I think I can lower that.
Good morning to both of you, and welcome. Welcome.
So we're presenting applications that came in for the cash grant, construction, acquisition, rehabilitation for sustainable housing. And we had 3 applications this year. So we're requesting for approval, the State College Community Land Trust rehabilitation project for 1150 South Garner Street. That would be a home with demolition on a deficient structure, site prep and construction. Mr. Jeffrey Siemens has a 100-year-old duplex in Clarence that houses 2 families, and he'd like to do some rehabilitation and improvement on that structure. And then lastly, Colleen also presented a rehabilitation project for 2 homes to be rehabilitated to provide housing for folks at 60 to 80% AMI. So if they have anything to say, or you have any questions for them?
This is the second year of this cash program, and it really has been fun to see the projects that we did last year through the State College Community Land Trust. I think there's a Habitat for Humanity who have done some open houses and ribbon cuttings for those, so we're pleased to see those. But yeah, if Colleen, if you would want to talk a little bit about that, and then we can go to Jeff and talk a little bit about the project as well, but please.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Last year, were successful in getting this about $10,000 per unit of new projects, and we've been really focusing using those funds on energy efficiency renovation. So that's what we're continuing to do with the second one for the $20,000. So it's 2 more units. It really helps the project along to be able to get that additional funding to do that. So we appreciate that. And then the first one, it is a deficient house on South Garner Street that the board has been looking at and trying to kind of figure out the best way forward with that. So I think by demolition, getting some site prep on there, and then being able to build another very energy efficient house is what we're planning to do. So, and we thank you very much for the funding, because it really helps a lot to help these projects go forward.
And just a quick question, in terms of the houses that were done last year, are there folks that are currently residing in them now, or are they still?
Yeah, and two of the 5 there are, and the third one's for sale, and then the last 2, we're just about to start renovations. It's been a little bit of a long.
No. Understood, but it's great that folks, within a year's time,
Yes,
we were able to
yeah,
get the money
yeah.
out and they're under roof. That's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Thank you.
Congrats, absolutely. Yeah, please, Mr. Siemens.
We purchased an older property up near the Brickyard. Some of you are familiar with that area up there, and it's an older property. It's part of the original employee duplexes years ago. And I've slowly been trying to make improvements, new windows, new furnaces, new air conditioning units. But to keep it an affordable, it is difficult to do that. And when these grants came out, I thought they were a great opportunity to at least make an application. And with the Land Trust and Habitat, I didn't really think I might ever get that opportunity, but you can't, you have to make the,
Can't win if you don't play.
thank you. So the intention is to continue to improve them, new doors, new kitchens, new appliances, and just move forward with things that I could do on my own as I move along, but it gets difficult to do and continue to maintain an affordable rental property in an area like that. So I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
No,
Generally speaking, are they 2-bedroom? Are they?
2-bedroom, living room, dining room, kitchen, and two-story old brick.
really the benefit of your project, Mr. Siemens, is we are investing in projects that are in the center region here in State College. Last year, we did some out in Rush Township, Shannon Valley. The fact that you're on the mountaintop there, the regional, we really want to try to get this money throughout the county, and so that was really attractive to us, and we compliment you for investing in this building and giving an opportunity for folks throughout the county to have a sustainable rent that they can pay. So we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
I think it's a great program.
Yeah, thank you.
And Jeffrey, I'm pretty sure I've knocked the doors of those houses back in 2015. They're not horribly far from the Young Democrats Club, aren't they?
Yes, nearby, and the Moose, and there's a number of,
Right.
the old post office in Clarence,
Yep.
that whole area.
Yeah, I think you described it exactly. 2-story older brick. Yep. Thanks.
So then we're seeking,
No, please, Betsy, yeah, please.
so we're seeking then approval for the 3 projects that totaled $65,740.
Thank you again, Betsy. We'll look for a motion to add this to next week's consent agenda.
Motion to add the construction, acquisition, rehabilitation for sustainable housing program application to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final questions or comments? Okay. Thank you again for your applications and congratulations, okay? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. Have a great day. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to welcome up Beth at this time to discuss an agreement.
So today, I would like to introduce the board an agreement with Baps, Callan, Clements, and Zomner, PC, to provide Center County as well as 11 additional counties listed in the agenda for representation in a litigation filed in the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania titled Republican National Committee et al. Versus Lee Chapman et al. And docketed in the civil action with the number set forth.
Thank you, Beth. This agreement really helps us to lower costs. All 67 Board of Elections across the state were sued, and so this is essentially just helping us to maintain costs, also have a concerted effort. It helps when we have a number of counties together filing things in this instance. So we hope everything gets resolved, but we'll move forward with the election process with less than 50 days to go. So thank you for presenting this. Any questions or comments from the board on this? Okay. Yeah, please, Gary.
Mail-in ballots, is this what the
Correct, that's the litigation.
curing means in terms of ballots?
Curing is allowing the voters to make changes or corrections to their returned mail-in ballot once it's been received in our office. However, the law does not prescribe a method to cure ballots, so Center County in the last 2 elections has not been allowing curing ballots. There are other counties that are. So this lawsuit is asking that everyone does the same procedures. So they're trying to get the courts to rule whether we're doing the same procedures or not.
So when you say the ballots are not cured, does that mean they're not counted then?
It would depend on what the deficit on the ballot would be. If a signature is missing, it cannot be counted. The lawsuit last year with a date being missing allowed for those ballots to be counted. So it all depends on what is missing on the ballot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, we'll look for a motion to approve the agreement.
Motion to approve the agreement with BAPS, Callan, Clemens, and Zomnier PC.
Second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final comments or questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion has carried. Beth, thank you. Okay, we'll welcome up Carrie at this time. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning. I'm requesting the board sign a one-time contract with the University of Cincinnati Research Institute for the purpose of training in the Ohio Risk Assessment System, ORAS curriculum. The training will be conducted at the Center County Correctional Facility for their treatment staff as well as probation staff. And this is funded through the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency Justice Assistance Grant that we currently have.
Thank you, Carrie. We appreciate all the work that you've done on this. Thank you. Is there any questions on the contract? Okay. We will look for a motion.
Motion to approve the contract with the University of Cincinnati Research Institute.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Carrie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll welcome up Lee for a contract. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're bringing before you a contract with Stone Age Cleaning Concepts City Clean Janitorial Systems. This would be to provide the refinishing of the marble floors at the courthouse, something we've been looking to do since the completion of the renovation project. Per the requirements, the cost of this project, we've tried to secure 3 different quotes. We did secure one with Remy Tile, which was $24,000. City Clean coming in at $13,000. We also brought in a third vendor, Marble Life. We had a gentleman come in from Philadelphia. Unfortunately, I've reached out several times to attain that quote. I've had no response. I was able to talk to somebody in the office, but unable to have them forward me a quote on that. So we're asking to go into contract with City Clean for refinishing the marble floor at the courthouse for $13,000.
Okay. Thank you, Lee. Any questions or comments?
I think it's a good program.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll look for a motion.
Motion to add the contract with Stone Age Cleaning Concepts, City Clean Janitorial Systems, Inc. to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
All right, been moved and seconded. Any final questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Welcome up Natalie. Good morning, Natalie.
Good morning. So on behalf of Adult Services, we have before you the approval of the final report with the Department of Agriculture for fiscal year 21-22. Particular State Food Purchase Program. Contract total is $100,143.85. This is the ability through this program for our food pantries for our designated food pantries to purchase food for their distributions. While we received a little over $10,000 more than last year, our numbers are about the same. We had some slight decreases in overall usage, but still kind of trending very close to the same.
Thank you, Natalie. Any questions or comments on this?
These are directed specifically at the food pantries.
Yes, so this is the funding of the food pantries, get a certain allocation to, and then they can directly kind of order the food that they, are allowable under this funding for their residents, yeah.
That need is not going away.
Is not going away.
Natalie, roughly how many food pantries do we have that serve Center County? I know it's several.
So that receive the state food purchase, is it 7 or 8?
That's what I was thinking.
State College, Bellefonte, Howard, Snowshoe, Phillipsburg, Center Hall, Penns Valley, and then Center House is still considered an additional location to get some emergency food at their shelter. And so, yes.
When you break it down on a per food pantry basis, it's still better than nothing, but it's actually not a lot.
Yeah.
We're relying on donations from the public.
We continue to really rely on donations, and donations really allow us to do that unique things like we can't buy condiments with this funding, and we can't buy like baking items with this funding. They're so very specific on what you can, that this funding kind of does those basics, foundation for food, and then donation really kind of builds up to support the families.
Thank you, Natalie. We'll look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the final report for the State Food Purchase Program.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion has carried. Okay.
And this is our letter of agreement with Clint Ripka. He particularly does transports for us for our emergency services. Contract total was $25,000, with the county share being $1,152 for this fiscal year 22-23.
Thank you, Natalie. Any questions or comments on this? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, I'm sorry, is there a motion? My apologies.
Motion to add the letter of agreement with Clinton Ripka to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Now, any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you very
Okay,
much,
thank
Natalie.
you.
Thank you. All right, we'll turn it to John.
Up before you is a contract renewal for postage services for Judge Hahn's office through Pitney Bowes. This is a renewal, and the price has come in lower than before, so there is a small cost savings. So there is a request for a contract renewal in a total of $15,630 for the period of November 2022 to November of 2027.
Any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to add the contract with Pitney Bowes to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Okay, and then the next one, John.
Before you is a contract renewal with Patrick Zerpoli LLC to provide auditing services relative to the to PREA, which is the Prison Rape Elimination Act. There are only a handful of auditors in the state that perform this service, and so they are obviously in high demand. So we are trying to get on the queue with Patrick. We've used them for the last couple years with great results. So we're trying to get on early. The contract total is $3,750 for March of 2023.
Thank you, John. Any questions or comments? We will look for a motion.
Motion to add the contract with Patrick Zerpoli LLC to next week's consent agenda.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion, questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you, John. Okay. For the fee for local use, we're going to welcome up Joni.
Okay, for your consideration, the approval of the fee for local use funds to Millheim Borough in the amount of $100,000 for the project of Park Road Bridge rehabilitation, roadway, and drainage reconstruction.
Okay, thank you, Joni. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the fee for local use funds to Millheim Borough.
I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. Thank you, Joni.
Thank you.
Okay. We have an important letter of support that we're going to be considering. We're going to welcome up both Ray and Jim Coslow for this item. Sort of a passing the baton or the throne, however you want to look at it, but Ray, we'll start with you, please.
Sure. Back in 2019, we were involved with the initiation of the Countywide Action Plan through DEP, hiring a coordinator through HRG, who's been with us for the past 3 years. And we've gotten through the point of developing the Countywide Action Plan, and for the past 2 years, we're getting into implementation. And as we get into implementation, we're looking at improving not only farms, but also streams. And our conservation district has been integral to that responsibility, sort of out of our realm as planning, as we've played a role in the development of the CAP. I think the implementation is very important. So we're requesting the commissioners consider having the conservation district now take the lead with the implementation projects at hand through the CAP And we are asking still to be a stakeholder within the Countywide Action Plan, but passing that off to Jim's department.
Okay, fantastic. And Jim, if there's anything you wanted to add to that, or?
This was discussed by the Conservation District Board, and they are in agreement with that change. Just another thing to point out is that the commissioners will still remain the grantee under this program. We're just switching lead departments within the county.
Again, Conservation District, we're all good to
Yeah.
go? Okay, fantastic. Okay. All right, we'll look for a motion to approve the letter of support.
Motion to approve the letter of support.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Again, Ray, thanks for all your and your team's work, and Jim, looking forward to having you helm this in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. The motion has carried. Okay, thank you again. We will look for a motion to approve our consent agenda.
Motion to approve this week's consent agenda.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion has carried. Okay, we have today's check run. Commissioner Higgins.
Sure. We have an average check run in the amount of $1,468,570.55. Good to see Ray's still here, because the check of the week is to Mid-Atlantic Storage Systems. And I had our finance department do a little bit of research on a check of this size, and that goes to the Unionville Water Project. I believe parts of their system were almost 100 years old, and this is federal community development block grant funding. So we'd like to thank the federal government for allowing the county to help one of our local municipalities that had a project that was just much larger than they were able to afford. And of course, when you're dealing with something 100 years old, I'm sure there were all kinds of standards it didn't meet. So would like to make a motion to approve the check run dated September 16th.
Oh, second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the check run. Any final discussion on the check run? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Okay. John, anything to report today?
No reports, Rick.
Okay. All right, we'll go to Commissioner Dershowitz with a voter registration report.
All right, this morning we have 105,644 registered voters in Center County. That's up 506 from last report. In the roster, we have 44,319 Democratic registrants, 140 Green Party, 655 Libertarian, and 14,379 no affiliation. And we also have 42,360 Republicans. And when you add those up and the 3,791 smaller party registrants, you get the total of 105,644 registered voters. The feature small party of the week is the nonpartisan party. And the nonpartisans, number 90 in their fold, so we'd like to recognize them. The feature precinct of the week is precinct number 76, which is Snowshoe East. Snowshoe Township East, not Snowshoe Borough, I have to specify. And in the last election, there were 688 registered voters. Total ballots cast were 285, which led to a percentage turnout of 41.42%. And the folks that make it happen at precinct 76, we have Christine Sorovic is the judge of elections. Christine Onder is the minority inspector. Shelley Katchik is the majority inspector, and the clerks are Susan Butterworth and Lisa Lyncha. And we'd like to thank the township, the Snowshoe Township, for allowing us to use their building as where Snowshoe 76 votes. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner. We have no other announcements today. We'll look for any executive sessions that we would need to report or hold.
No executive sessions to report or hold.
Okay, thank you, John. We have the balance of our schedule there for the upcoming weeks. Seeing no press still with us, we will look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at 10:53.
I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of adjourning, do so by saying aye. Aye.